Hi, and welcome to our next edition of Then We Eat. If it's the first time joining us, welcome to our channel. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. On this week's edition, we'll be making classic Snickerdoodle cookies. Before we start, I'd like to invite you to like the video at the end if you've liked what you've seen. Share it with all your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment down below. Did you like watching us make the cookies? Or better yet, what would you like to see us make next? So the first thing we want to do is we want to take our flour, our cream of tartar, and our baking soda and whisk it together gently in a bowl. I prefer just to put it through a sieve. I find that it gets more air in and I can separate it easier. So I need 1.5 cups of flour, and to that I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And we'll just give that a sift. I find the other thing about putting it through the sieve is I can get all the lumps out of the flour. There we go. So we're going to put this aside and we're going to work on our butter. So our next step is to beat our butter. So I have 1/2 cup of butter here that I have cut into about 1/2 inch chunks, and I've kept it in the fridge. So you want extremely cold butter for this. You don't want softened butter. So let's put it in our bowl. And we're going to mix this for 2 to 3 minutes until it's nice and pale. And here we go. Okay, so our butter is nice and whipped, and to this I'm going to add some salt and some sugar. So I've got 1/4 teaspoon of salt, kosher salt, and I have 3/4 cup of sugar. Now I'm going to mix this for 3 to 4 minutes until it's well incorporated. We'll start on slow so we don't have sugar everywhere. Okay, so it's been beating for 4 minutes. I'm just going to scrape the sides down. I'm going to add 1 egg that I've had out at room temperature, and then I'm going to mix it just until it's incorporated. Now we add the egg. There, that's good. I'm just going to scrape the sides down, and then we're going to add our dry ingredients that we've put through the sieve. You're going to want to slowly add your dry ingredients. You don't want to have flour all over your kitchen. And you just want to give it a mix until it's well incorporated. Well, that looks good. Now you're going to think it looks very dry, but if you actually just give it a squeeze, it actually stays together. So the next thing we want to do is we want to crumple it all up into a ball, and we're going to wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. So if you want to just give me a minute, I'll crumple it all up in a ball and then we'll wrap it in the plastic. So here's my ball of dough. We'll just put it on our plastic, give it a wrap up, and put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. So we'll be back when we're ready for the cookies. So that's it for our dough. Very simple, only a few ingredients. We'll be back when it's cool. Okay, so our dough has been chilling in the fridge for 30 minutes. It's time to start to make cookies. So we're gonna unwrap our dough. And I'm gonna use my nice little cookie scoop to make some scoops. And once I'm done making them, I'm gonna roll them in balls, and I'm gonna add them to my bowl. And in my bowl, I've got 1/4 cup of sugar and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. If you like a little bit more cinnamon, you can add more. If you don't want as much, don't add as much. So let's get some cookies made. None of that made any sense. I'm just going to take a scoop, scoop it out. I'm going to make a couple of balls before I start to roll them and put them in the sugar. You just want to make sure that you've got enough to fill your scoop. We'll make 1 more ball, then we'll roll them. There we go. We've got 3 little scoops here. Let's give them a roll, and then we'll put them in our cinnamon sugar. So we have 3 balls here, and then we're going to just drop them in our cinnamon sugar. We'll give them a roll around. Make sure that they get totally covered in the cinnamon sugar. And then we're going to put them on our cookie sheet, lined with parchment paper. We're going to put them about 2 inches apart so that they don't combine when we cook them. About that distance. I'm going to carry on with the rest of the cookies. We'll be back before we put them in the oven. Okay, so we've got all our cookies rolled out. Here they are on our tray. we ended up with 32 cookies. Now we're going to put them in a 375-degree oven, which I have preheated. It's ready to go. And these are going to cook for 8 to 10 minutes or until they're golden brown. So we'll be back after they're cooked. Okay, so our cookies have come out of the oven. I've let them cool for a few minutes on the tray. Now it's time to move them to the wire rack. I've already moved my first pan. Now let's get the second pan over to the wire rack. And there we have it, our batch of classic Snickerdoodles. I'm just gonna let them cool for a few minutes and then we can try one. Okay, so now it's time to try them. My favorite. So good. They're a really nice sweet cookie. Then you get the flavor of the cinnamon at the end. Perfect. So that pretty much does this video. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, first we cook, then we eat.